Before I get started into this video, I want to give a shout out to Trent in the SIP. If you don't know anything about him, he is a big Ole Miss fan, and he invited me on his platform to talk about the upcoming game when we go to Oxford, Mississippi to play Ole Miss. Me and him exchanged ideas. We talked about the game and what he thinks Ole Miss is going to do, and I talked about what Georgia Southern can do. It was a pretty good conversation, so I will have that video linked down into the comment section. It'll be pinned at the top, so you guys go check it out so you can get a perspective from Ole Miss side. And shout out to him, excellent channel, and he does pretty good work. So let's talk about the upcoming game. I'm gonna give you more of an add-on to what I talked about on his channel when it comes to Georgia Southern going to Ole Miss. Now, as a Georgia Southern Eagle fan, I would like for them to do well, but when you're going up against a top 5 team at night going to their stadium, I mean, it's going to be more than an uphill battle. But nevertheless, I think Georgia Southern could be respectable in this game. And when you look at a team like Ole Miss, it's not going to be easy. They beat up on Furman, a team that we know very well back in the 1AA days. They beat them 76-0. They turned right back around the following week, beat Mid Tennessee State 52-3. And they turned around the following week after that, beat Wake Forest 40-6. So this team, Jackson Dart, the quarterback, and they're just like on fire. You know, everything about them are absolutely great. So what I would like to see for Georgia Southern to do is try to slow that down a little bit. I know our secondary is okay, but I don't know if we can go up against a quarterback like Jackson Dart and make a dent into his passing game. I think he's like the top passer in the country right now. Also with Georgia Southern, what we should be able to do, which I hope we can, because from what Trent told me, that the secondary is probably like their weakness, and we like to pass the ball a lot. So if we can make this into somewhat of a shootout or anything like that, that would be great. I'm not sure. At the worst case scenario, or the best case scenario, I will say this. I would like to put up at least 20 to 28 points up on Ole Miss. I'm not saying that we'll win the game, and I know that that's going to be a tough task to do so. But for us to be respected, showing that we don't just lay down and look like the other 3 teams that Ole Miss played would be a feat in itself. Sometimes there's just levels to this. You know, playing a top 5 team, going to their stadium, and even though last year, back in 2016, we did play them and we only lost by 10, it's just a different ball game right now. Ole Miss has Lane Kiffin. Him and Coach Clay Helton are really close. He's done a great job of building that program up to what it is. And also, you know, Georgia Southern with Coach Clay Helton, we've built up as well. So maybe we should be able to do something better than the other 3 teams that played Ole Miss earlier this season. Now, like I said, with J.C. French and the receivers, we should be able to move the ball a little bit because, you know, like Trent said, and I looked at it, their secondary is not the best. But their front 4, front 7 is something dynamite. So those front 4 guys could possibly be playing on Sundays. And with that being said, Pashawn Wembley and the other guys on the offensive line is going to have to try to protect J.C. French. Give him a little bit of time. Give him some time. Maybe he can distribute the ball and get downfield. The running game, I'm not so sure about the running game of Georgia Southern. Not saying it's a bad running game. I just feel like our skill set is not fit for the run. Our offensive line does fairly well, but not with the run. I think we're more of a pass blocking offensive line, which I don't know how that'll bode for Jalen White and O.J. Arnold. Maybe we can, get some, draw plays, or, we can get some swing passes to get the ball into the hands of the running backs, and maybe they can make some things happen. All in all, what I feel like at the end of the day, I don't feel like we're going to actually win the game. Gut feeling. That's just my gut feeling. And sometimes that's okay. Some people, in a fan base, they get kind of riled up when you hear stuff like that. But there's levels to talent to this. Top 5 team in the SEC, going to them at night to play them. I mean, just look at what happened with LSU when we played LSU in 2019, going to them at night and playing them. Totally different team from back then. Not the same type of offense or defense back then. But when you're playing against a big team in a hostile environment, and let's be honest, in 2019, nobody was beating Joe Burrow in that offense back then. It just wasn't happening. But nevertheless, I don't want it to end up in a situation where we only put up 3 points like we did at LSU. I would like to see Georgia Southern, on a national stage or on a big stage, put up at least 20, 28 points, 21, 28 points. Old Miss is probably going to double up on us. I know a lot of people are already saying that they're going to put up like 48, 49 points, which is, that makes sense. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, we're going to beat this team and we're going to do our thing. But nah, it's just what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, you're just going to be in a situation where you're just playing against better talent. But with that being said, that doesn't mean we just lay down and just crawl under a rock and just let them score at will. We need to just go ahead and still play some football. At the end of the day, we put up our best foot forward. They put their best foot forward, and just see where the chips fall. And if that happens, I believe that Georgia Southern will probably lose this game 48-21, 48-24. Maybe Ole Miss drops 50 on us, and even if they drop 50, we'll still be in that 21-28 range. And I think that's fair. But that doesn't make it seem like the season's over. I mean, after that, you go into Sun Belt play, and the rest of the season is still wide open. And there's a possibility, and I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, there's a possibility that the Ole Miss game could be the last game that we lose. I mean, you just don't know how the Sun Belt plays out. And with the team that we don't have a bad team. This team is actually pretty damn good, all things considered. So I know there's some people gonna think the sky's falling after losing to a very good elite team like this, but the rest of your season is not, over. What may happen even if we do shock the world and beat this team? You just never know. I mean, stranger things have happened, but it's just that when I look at it on paper, I don't see it. But even if we do lose this game, it's not the end of the world. You just got to look at it like this. Going through the rest of the season, and you look at the levels that not the level, but the way that you're playing and where you're playing, this could be the last game that we lose, because the Sun Belt do look nice, but the Sun Belt is not necessarily, as dominant, or its talent level is not as high as it was like in the years past. And I think we have the talent to compete with anybody in the Sun Belt. So, like I said, it's not the end of the world. So let's see what happens here. Hopefully, we make it competitive. Maybe we look respectable. I don't want to look like how these other three teams that Ole Miss played look. Give us at least a chance to put up 20-plus points, or maybe even 17. And I can live with that and walk away with no injuries. Don't have anybody injured. We live to fight another day when we go up against Georgia State the following week. So let me know what you guys think. Like, share, subscribe. Once again, shout out to Trent. He's been absolutely awesome. Yes, son, I'm not done yet. Giving me a chance to watch, not watch, but be on his channel and discuss the football game or whatever the case may be. And like I said, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, y'all, I'm out. Peace.